Hello, let's drink some matcha. So good. Today we're gonna talk about how the internet is not a real place. I very recently did a real life versus online trends video, and I asked you to let me know some of the biggest difference you see when it comes to online trends and what you actually see in real life in the place where you live. I got a surprising amount of comments, so I thought I will compile all of that information and make it into one single video. So let's talk about what's trending in your world. So we're gonna start with Paris first. When it comes to Paris, you guys said that most of the trends that are seen online are seen in real life as well. It's very common to see people mixing mesh tops with moto boots or a very trendy bag. The most popular bag that seems to be everywhere in Paris is the Uniqlo bag. Apparently everyone seems to use this. A lot of people are wearing Sambas, Dr. Martens, and there's also something super interesting that this person mentioned. They said that there are a lot of very specific trends that you would never expect to see in real life. So for example, cottagecore or very witchy outfits. I'm not sure what she means by this. I think she means something similar to what I wore in my end of summer outfits video that I posted last week. And apparently a lot of people are still wearing some of the trends that were very popular during 2020 on TikTok. When I went to Paris, I didn't see any of this, but I do have to say I went in December, so people were wearing a lot of trench coats. I wasn't really able to see the actual Parisian style. Someone who's from France but doesn't live in Paris left a comment as well. Apparently in the smaller cities of France, people are not wearing online trends. Apparently a lot of people are still wearing skinny jeans, and it's a struggle to find other kinds of denim. Let's go to Barcelona and Spain. I think Barcelona is one of my favorite places in the whole entire world. Everyone told me that Bimba y Lola is super popular. Jorts are everywhere. A lot of people do wear online trends. I also got a comment from the south of Spain, and apparently long skirts are super popular there. Let's go to the next place. New York City is full of trends. Apparently a lot of fashion influencers live there. It's obvious that a lot of trends are gonna be seen on the street. I've never been to New York. I've just been to the airport, so I don't know how trendy it actually is, but I do think it's one of those places where you can actually wear whatever you want. No one is gonna care. So it makes a lot of sense that all of these trends that I mentioned as being online trends are actually seen in real life when it comes to that city. I'm gonna talk about London now. London seems to be the trendiest city. I would go out of my way to say even more so than New York. I saw a bunch of comments from you guys telling me that the video didn't even make sense, and this all came from people who are from London. You guys told me that all of the trends that I mentioned as online trends are actually seen in real life. I would go out of my way to say this is where a lot of trends tend to start. I do think the weather lets you experiment a little bit more with fashion and kind of play around, which is something that us people who live in very hot places don't really get to do. I think fashion wouldn't be what it is in today's day of age if it wasn't for London. Someone else left me a super interesting comment comparing Dallas, Texas versus the Midwest. I used to go to Texas a lot when I was younger. According to this person, Dallas is super trendy and very much chronically online. This person said that when they used to live in Dallas, clothes weren't really used for functionality and it was more about aesthetics and how it looked, which I thought was super interesting. When it comes to the Midwest, apparently everyone wears athleisure or the 2010s shorts. Online trends are usually only seen on teenagers and college kids. They said how it was funny for them when the New York fashion girlies started wearing cowboy boots. She in Texas always avoided them because they thought they were goofy and country. I do think that's kind of funny how everyone started wearing cowboy boots. I think if you wear cowboy boots and you're in Texas, you don't really look like you're wearing online trends because it's just a thing in there. We're gonna talk about Portugal now. I've never been to Portugal, but I'm dying to go there. You guys mentioned how Bimba y Lola seems to be popular in there as well, which was very surprising to me. I didn't know Portugal was into them as well. Someone else who's studying arts mentioned how she sees a lot of the online trends that I talked about, but she doesn't see them as much outside of her school. So I think it has to do with the fact that younger people seem to be more inclined to wearing trends. And someone from rural Portugal also left a comment, which I thought was super interesting. I love getting different perspectives from people who live in the very big cities and people who live in rural places, because it's so different. They said big Calvin Klein bags are super popular. Jorts are also seen everywhere. Baggy pants, baggy shorts, or sportswear and sports merch, especially football t-shirts and American football jerseys. Apparently old people wear maxi skirts, polo shirts from Sakor Brothers, Springfield, and Quebramar. We're gonna talk about Mexico City now. I have been to Mexico City once, and just for a day. I'm from the north of Mexico. It's so different from the center. Culture, values, style, nothing is the same. Apparently on Mexico City, trends are seen but only in certain circles of people. They also said, and this I 100% agree with, it's something that I didn't mention before, they said no way you see someone wearing the bloquette trend. Mexico is so big on football. Everyone seems to always know when there's gonna be a football game, and you kind of look crazy. This is what she said. And you kind of look crazy if you wear a football jersey on a random Tuesday. I got another comment from someone in Finland. They mentioned this brand called Marimekko. Apparently very similar to Bimba y Lola, but it's different. It's kind of their own twist to the same bag. And they also said that everyone wears hoodies even when it's warm. They kind of have their own style. Let's talk about Colombia now. Apparently in Colombia, mesh tops are worn regularly, and they have been worn for decades, which I find super interesting because it's definitely more of an online trend when it comes to other countries. They have their own brands that I've never heard of before. She mentioned Perchita. They also have Sixta, Eloisa Studio, Jorge Duque. I looked him up yesterday. He's a Colombian designer. He designed a heart bag that's very trendy in that country, and it's also very expensive. It's actually so cool. I've never seen a bag like that before. It looks like an actual heart. They also said Sambas aren't trending, which is crazy to me. They said the popular shoe is the white Nike Air. I thought Sambas were a thing all around the world, but apparently they're not. They also said every girl in Colombia uses ear cuffs, and they're usually big and they stack them up. We're gonna talk about Poland now. I got a few comments from people in Poland, I think more than I thought I was gonna get. Someone did mention, which I thought was super interesting, how it kind of depends on age. Apparently most teenagers are wearing jorts and other baggy jeans, but girls who are amongst the 24 to 30 age bracket are dressing in the clean girl aesthetic, the Hailey Bieber blazer, slick back hair. And according to them, women over 30 are wearing skinny jeans or straight jeans, blazers, and t-shirts. Let's talk about Toronto now. Apparently some trends are worn, but people usually go for leggings and the 2010s shorts, which I've mentioned in my past couple of videos. I'm guessing the weather plays a huge part. I do know you guys have very harsh weather. I think maybe harsher than London. It might be hard to dress how you want to dress because it's very cold. We're gonna talk about a small city in Italy. They didn't specify where. They said trends are very much what people were wearing online in 2018, which is crazy. I guess when it comes to small cities, it really does take a long time for trends to get there. Let's talk about Netherlands now. Apparently most of the trends are seen in real life, but capris and see-through clothing are not seen as much. People tend to wear a lot of long knee length skirts or floral skirts. Now, I got comments from someone in Indonesia, Singapore, and someone in South Korea. They didn't tell me anything about styling there. The only thing they said is that Bimba y Lola is super big in there, which I thought was super interesting. I had no idea that it was big anywhere outside of the Hispanic community. So, LA, let's talk about LA now. They mentioned how they don't see a lot of these trends in real life, except for skirts. Those are everywhere. I would have thought people in there were more trendy, but apparently they're not. according to this comment. Maybe it has to do with the heat. Maybe people don't wear a lot of trends because it tends to be hotter. If you're from LA, definitely leave a comment. I want to know if it was just that comment or if people in LA are really not wearing online trends. We're gonna talk about Argentina now. They said, especially in small towns, trends don't exist and fast fashion doesn't exist either because everything is so expensive. So they said that people kind of try to buy a lot of basics that they can use for different seasons because it's just not affordable to be buying a lot of clothes. There was this trend going on TikTok, I think it was around 2 years ago, about milipili, I think that's how you say it, about milipili fashion, which is kind of a specific aesthetic that girls from there seem to have. I think it was super interesting. I guess that's something very Argentinian as well. Oh my god, my battery is ending. Battery ran out. I just came back. Let's talk about Quebec now. This person says that they sometimes see trends but rarely, and they also said they've seen jorts many times and a lot of baggy jeans as well amongst younger people, so teenagers or young adults. They say they've also seen Sambas a lot, but the brand they see the most is actually Nike and sometimes Converse and Vans. But during the winter they do see a lot of skinny jeans because they are more functional for the winter weather. Also for bags they see a lot of Lamberts. I've never heard of that brand before. And the Uniqlo pouch bag is also a staple. The last comment that I got, someone mentioned Rio de Janeiro. Usually people wear a lot of normal clothes. By normal clothes, I guess they mean the real life trends that I mentioned in my video. A lot of people wear old trends. Maybe the farther down that you go in the hemisphere, the less online trends we see. The fact that people in the southern hemisphere are going through summer right now when we are going to winter, I guess that changes things. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the cities in the southern hemisphere don't use a lot of trends. I didn't have any comments from Australian people, I think, which is really sad because I did wanted to see their perspective. I think Australia is very heavily inclined to trends, isn't it? Even though it's in the southern hemisphere. Anyways, I think that's where I'm gonna end the video. If you are from a different place or if you have kind of a different take of fashion in all of these cities and countries, definitely let me know. Comment down below your perspective and what you see, and if you agree with what these people said about your city or your country. If you want to go watch the original real life versus online trends, I'm gonna leave that video in the description box. And I also made some end of summer outfits last week, so if you want to go watch that, do so. I have 2 videos coming up that I'm very excited about. My current fashion obsessions, or what's trending in my world. I have a thrift haul coming up, and I have a what's in my bag video as well. Stay tuned for all of that. Thank you guys